Hello, Internet fans. Welcome to another episode of the Buddies Forever VCast with Rottin Roger DeMarco and...
the Evildeadinks.
Yes, we are back. Another week, another VCast, and we have something sort of odd for this video. We wanted to pit two movies against each other.
Two movies against each other, but share similarities in some aspects.
Yes, the two movies that we are going to discuss somewhat at length in this VCast are the two films released in 1986, April Fool's Day and Slaughter High.
I did not catch it. They were both released the same year. That's real weird.
See, and that's sort of the issue, because from what I can gather, Slaughter High was actually supposed to be called April Fool's Day. And while they were wrapping everything up, they're like, oh, shit, Paramount just put out April Fool's Day. Quick.
Get the release dates on those? Like, how far apart were they? Were either of them close to the actual month of April?
You know what? You would think that I would have wrote that down. I didn't write that down because I'm a terrible person.
Oh, I didn't write that in either. I didn't even think of it until you brought up this year. I was like, well, that's interesting. I didn't do any behind the scenes stuff. I literally, the notes I took and the information I took down, the little bit I did was just from watching the movies.
Another thing, I'm not sure if it came out in 1986 as well, but there's another slasher film that takes place on April Fool's Day called Killer Party. I used to own this on VHS. I don't remember much about it other than it takes place on April Fool's Day. It has very awesome cover art, but it wasn't enough for me to retain any information about the movie. So these two movies, while they both take place on the same holiday, are very different takes. They're very different takes on the slasher genre, the holiday itself.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, from the first time I saw Slaughter High, I was maybe 16, and I bought this at a video store going out of business. I got the VHS. I loved the cover art, and
I always thought it looked like the Crypt Keeper.
It does. For whatever reason, with that movie, it held some sort of weird place in my heart where I knew it was bad, but I always held it to a higher regard than other movies.
Nothing wrong with that. We all have that list of movies that no one likes but us. I know when I know it's like, yeah, I own a copy of Leonard Part 6 on DVD.
Yeah.
It's probably correct to own that movie anymore, but...
You're the only person I know that owns it. I mean, I don't own it, so...
The rumor I always heard is Bill Cosby tried to reconfiscate all those out of circulation, so I want to believe that, so I want to think that I got one over on Bill Cosby, and I have a copy of his fucking movie, and I'm going to show it and expose him.
That's amazing.
But I bet you could redo it just because the theme song they use in Slaughter High is one that I forget. It's weird. It's a song I instantly forget the next day. But as soon as I hear it again, it's stuck with me.
Oh, the
until
guitar?
Yeah.
So you strut your stuff and you think you're cool. That fucking song.
No, that opening, that they repeat constantly in that movie. That
over and over. Man, they got boys in there.
That. Harry Manfredini did the score for that movie, and I can't believe he had anything to do with that part of it. That
No, I don't know.
Near.
Yeah, he was probably on a lot of cocaine. I mean, 86, and he was living fat off those Friday the 13th residuals. And so he's like, Slaughter High, I don't give a fuck. And you can see him. He's just sitting at that synthesizer, just fucking taking big old rips, just like, yeah, that'll do. Fuck him. They didn't pay him very much.
I refuse to believe that. I seriously think they hired him because they're like, well, we got this Friday the 13th stinger in the movie where we actually use the sound effect and refer to Jason. It's like, I guess we should hire Harry Manfredini.
Watch out for the boogeyman, girls.
And the little bits that it's so like, oh yeah, that's Harry Manfredini, and it's in a weird space where it's, here's Friday the 13th, here's House, right here is Slaughter High.
Yeah, it's like it's borrowing from all his other bodies of work, but not doing
He's DJ Remix.
Yeah, it's like not a great job. Well, and see, with the budget of Slaughter High, and I looked high and low, and I can't believe this number is correct. $178,000 is all it took to make Slaughter High.
I can believe that.
On the other hand, April Fool's Day, it had a $5 million budget.
Believable as well.
So that's the thing. When I watch Slaughter High on its own, by itself, just randomly, I ignore all of the stuff that's bad about it. Obviously, the acting is terrible. That claymation,
I noticed that when they're dunking him butt naked in the toilet, the shots of thing like, oh, that's a person. And, oh yeah, that's just a dummy. You can see a weird plastic shine on the butt cheeks. Yes. No, I'm not proud of it, but yes, I noticed that.
So yeah, what I was these plastic butt cheeks.
I can't believe $100,000. It looks like they just found that fucking high school in the back, like getting ready to get torn down area.
Mm-hmm.
How long they close down for when they go there for the reunion?
I'm saying 10. That's their 10-year reunion.
Years? And those trees, shrubberies grow quick in 10 years.
Yeah. So
I planted a tree in 4th grade at my old house. That sucker is still not a full-grown fucking tree. So I have a hard time believing that this forest just overtook this high school area. Unless it's a very country area they're living in.
It's like it's that high school, Doddsville High School, is right on the edge of Maryland, Burkittsville, Maryland. So those woods are just growing. They're alive, and they're.
It's been shut down for maybe 5 years, but
either
way, power to it, and the clocks are still working in it.
Yeah, and because the
janitor caretaker.
Yeah, the caretaker, because a janitor. Janets. But yeah, like I was saying, things about this movie that I completely ignored, and like I said, it holds a dear spot to me in my heart. So I enjoy the movie. I defend it a lot, but then when I put it back to back with April Fool's Day, my opinion started to sway. Near the last half hour of Slaughter High, I really started getting annoyed with the movie. Yeah, I was starting to get pissed off. And so I did some research, and that end chase where he's chasing Carolyn Monroe. And I'm like, God, this goes on and on. Why? They didn't really have that when they were making the movie. They didn't have that chase. So all of that was just improvised. So like, yeah, just run here, hide in the bathroom, run out of the bathroom, run into this room. He finds you there, run back into the bathroom. I mean, it's just like, it's the same.
Did him get his body getting thrown out that window, is that improvised timing as well?
I believe so.
Like 3-second dummy shot throwing that thing out the window.
We should have got that the stuntman from Halloween H2O to take that bump.
That hurts when that hit. That one, that looks like what is? I think it's Death Wish 3, where they throw the guy off the roof, and it's a straight, the limbs don't move, dummy getting thrown off a building.
Just the head rolls off when it.
An arm is like,
Yeah, completely like impossible positions.
Yeah.
So before we go crazy in depth, I'll knock out the splatter facts for the two films. And this is where it gets weird, because this is one of those things that you and I have talked about, and we're gonna get to
this all spawned from the talking about horror movies where the body count at the end of it is actually or one.
Right. So Slaughter High's tally is officially is 12, but you take all of that away, and he kills the doctor at the end of the movie with the syringe. So the tally is 1 for Slaughter High. The titty count for Slaughter High is 4. We have one.
I was recounting in my head. I was like, because I only remember one set, and it's the only thing that will stand out forever in the movie for me is set 1. But go ahead, continue.
We have 1 dick and balls, and we have 1 bush.
We got bush.
The methods of death are hung up,
rad, fucking rad,
exploding guts, acid bath, stabbed, drowned in a sewage hole, off-screened, lawn-mowered, electrocuted, which is our personal favorite in the movie.
Yeah, that's shit. That should just be the cover art right there. We should just redo this movie and put out that as cover art.
Hatchet to the face, and the last one is speared. So unless you count the syringe to the eye, which is the only official kill in the movie.
Yeah.
Now the 4 titties, because you're not remembering the girl who gets the blood splattered on her, so she takes the bath in the acid. So you see her boobs, but
running water in this place still too.
Right. Well, the janitor, he's got to have water and lights and things.
The Jan Taker.
Yeah, the Jan Taker. It's like
the Janet.
Janitaker. That's a sweet wrestling name.
It is. I'll make that meme later.
Now with April Fool's Day, the official tally for the body count is 7, which reverts completely back to 0. 0 dead bodies.
Then almost 1.
Mm-hmm. And that's a cop out. Total cop out. We have 0 titties in April Fool's Day, even though there is a awkward sex scene. There's 0 tits. Sort of like a Jason Lives sex scene, It's a sex scene. You still can't let your kids watch it, but there's no breasts.
No, and even for a dude who apparently is killed by penis trauma.
Yeah, that's the method. Go ahead.
It's like you don't really see anything. You see a little bit of blood around the crotch, and that's I don't know how that kills him.
Yeah, because there should be blood everywhere.
My complaints about April Fool's Day is not about that though. It is something entirely separate. That like, I'm curious what you thought, because if you were pissed at Slaughter High, I was at the end pissed watching April Fool's Day.
Just because of the cop-out ending, or what?
No, when I go through, I was like, oh, she's going to open a whodunit weekend place.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as like that, after right now, I was like, bullshit. There ain't no way in hell, especially in even in 1986, you're going to be able to be in the water, in the lake, and have handy a prosthetic piece to put over your face that won't slide off and won't be up with water, and it stays. And like, oh yeah, this is $200 to make these, heads. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Biff Tannen would cost a little bit more, and I don't think she's making that shit from pictures.
Yeah, because he was not in on it. So, and that guy says something like, these were props I had laying around. I just kind of retooled them. Bullshit. That fucking looks just like him. You didn't retool that.
Yeah. So watching that, I was like, oh, that special effects budget is second to no one ever to have that much stuff on hand for that low of spending costs, and that shit that's not going to wear off in the water.
Yeah, you got Rick Baker doing your weekend retreat.
That's some alien autopsy shit there, where they're watching that going, man, I don't know how we did that. That's really good. That's where I was like, 'cause I don't know, just being around watching bonus features on things and makeup effects. It's like,
yeah, it's a total cop out, and that's the issue with both of these movies that demanded a little bit of attention, because I've seen Slaughter High.
But do you think at the end of Slaughter High that like Nightmare on Elm Street, where the body count is reduced to 1, at the end of that movie, do you think that is what is going to happen? Do you think that dreaming that movie, he wakes up, kills that doctor, and then that movie, we Tarantino that shit, we go all the way back and start it from there again? You think that's the end?
That is a possibility. I don't think he gets out. I don't think he makes it very far. He's not a strong kid. He's not incredibly menacing, or he's not Tyler Mane in the Halloween remake. He's not walking out of there. He's not killing everybody to escape.
And Corbin Burnson was able to escape from the crazy house and the dentist too.
Yeah, that's true. And Dr. Giggles. But I don't know, man. That's a good way to look at it, that he's escaping to finally exact the revenge that he's been dreaming of.
Yeah, that maybe we would have saw behind the curtain of Michael Myers. Maybe he's dreaming about all that shit before he gets out of Smith's Grove. Right.
Just sitting there in a catatonic state, just dreaming about everything that he's going to do.
Yeah. It's just it's a behind the mask of Halloween with Slaughter High.
It's such a what the hell's going on here? It's such a shitty thing to do to horror fans. It's such a...
I can accept it better in Slaughter High than I can in April Fool's Day, because they let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah. And
there's a good 10 minutes left.
Yeah, they let the joke run its course. Yeah.
If I was in the theater, I'd just be sitting there just like, okay. And it's still going.
Mm-hmm. And see where it takes you.
It happened. Oh, something is going to happen. No, it didn't happen. And credits.
Mm-hmm. And with Slaughter High, the whole thing is, that dream is so fucking intricate. And I think that's my struggle with the entire thing is like, oh, okay, so you dreamed that Carolyn Monroe turned down a role in some movie. You dreamed that Skip's car broke down. You know what I mean? You dreamed all this bullshit? No. The fucking idiot who was writing the script got to like the last 7 pages and went, fucking dream. Got it. Like, it's such a bullshit thing. It drives me nuts, man. But
going back to kills, how'd you like that the foreshadowing of the bottle of acid on the shelf?
oh, they fucking drive that home, don't they? Man.
Jeez, this doesn't come into play. They are really in bad shape, and gosh, he gets a straight up money shot full of that acid in his face. He is eating. It's like a bottle of Coke.
Yeah. And I also like how everybody runs to help him, but then they just stop at the door and don't help him.
No one like, you go in there.
Yeah, like he can clearly be rescued at any point, and you're like,
want to grab a blanket, something?
Yeah, fuck that, man. So
Be regretting the sexual prank we pulled on him, which that is good as hell.
yeah, that's some Terror Train shit. Almost, I mean,
Terror Train. I think it was Terror Train is way goofier of a setup.
yeah, it's a goofy setup, but that is a fucked up prank, and
Is that yeah? They go definitely above and beyond.
yeah.
And
This movie, I mean, we're at the tail end of, in '86, we're at the tail end of the slasher genre being scary, being taken super seriously. So,
I think it's the roller coaster. You're just starting the decline in '86. Just starting it.
right.
You're getting ready to hit the Elm Street 3. Was it Friday 6?
Friday 6. So, yeah, that's even when that series stopped taking itself seriously. So it was a harder sell to make these movies scary, and everything by this point had begun to be regurgitated. We're running out of holidays for because that was the thing too. Like everyone was going, oh, what one haven't we covered? And these two tried to beat each other to the April Fool's Day thing, and obviously April Fool's Day won the title, but
yeah,
just
better quality film.
Yeah, it is a better quality film.
Which I noticed you have, of course, in the background there. You have your Slaughter High Blu-ray. I still just have the DVD. How is the transfer on Blue? Because it looks pretty VHS on my DVD.
It's nice. It's really cleaned up, and I think that might hurt the movie a little bit. The
some of those. It's one of those that's got the charm comes with it.
Yeah,
with
it's got to have that that patina, that age, that grimy grain. It needs it, because when you take it all away, I mean, that claymation bath scene, it never looked good, right? But when it's like lo-fi and the tracking is fucked up, it's a little more acceptable. You know what I mean? So
seems more real.
Yeah, exactly. That's like watching a sixth generation dub of Cannibal Holocaust, and that's why people were like so sold on it being real, because you couldn't see any of the like the seams in the makeup or any of that shit. It looked fucking real because the image quality was so soft. And now that it's sharpened, Friday the 13th is another one that kind of belongs on that first DVD or that VHS, because when you go back and you watch Kevin Bacon take the arrow,
You can see the color differences.
Yeah, the discolorization is so pronounced. It's just, it's a little distracting. I mean, our image quality is getting better and better, but it's kind of pulling that curtain away. It's like, the magician needs stuff to be hidden in the dark. You can't see these wires because I don't want you to see these wires. It fucks everything up.
Some of those movies, they run a fine line though on that. That some of those movies you love more because you can see the Scotch tape and the strings and shit, and some, I guess, Slaughter High falls in the other half of that category where it doesn't benefit from that. But I think some of those, like the first Nightmare on Elm Street, benefits to me from that because I can see the fucking extended arms held together by things and shit like that. So I thought, even on my copy, how did the PBR kill
go? It looks good. You can see the the stomach appliance is a little glossy. They hold on it a little too long.
I thought that looked actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
From the bursting part of it.
Yeah. One of the other things that I wanted to bring up about Slaughter High is the elephant in the room with Slaughter High. They cast, well, that too, but they cast Carolyn Monroe to play the lead. For those who are not fans of this movie, who have not seen this movie yet, Carolyn Monroe, if you look her up, she was a Bond girl. She was around doing big things in the 60s and the 70s, and they cast her as the lead character in Slaughter High. Now, at the time Slaughter High came out in 1986, she was 37 years old. She's 30. So, the VHS and even that DVD, especially that first, before the accident happens with Marty, they put sort of like a weird, like a white haze on that film stock. You know what I'm talking about? Every time they're in the gym or whatever, it's kind of a white.
To make it look like it's a memory.
Yes. And I think it's also to hide some of her wrinkles. And I'm serious, man. I mean, she was old.
And people like that like really like funk up their hair. So like, oh yeah, so they can have that, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, your hair looks normal now.
So
it's cool.
Yeah, so she was okay, so even let's say the reunion takes place 10 years after the original events. She was 9 years older than she would have been at her 10-year reunion. So there are scenes.
Maybe she got held back several years.
Yeah, because she was pretty, but she was a fucking idiot. But there
What's plus Jello?
Jello. You beat me to it, you fucker. But there are scenes where the camera might be too close, or she is next to someone who is actually a 17, 18-year-old kid, and it doesn't read well. I mean, there are times she looks elderly, and you're going, that is a hard sell for me, I mean, I know that they put her in because
I never noticed that a great deal. I always thought the blonde looked like she was way older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stella, she looks old.
Especially not in the flashback. I didn't really notice it too much, but in the real time, I was like, wow, yeah, she looks older.
and that's the caliber of I hate to sound like a pervert, but the the caliber of the actresses willing to be nude in this film. It's pretty rough. It's like most of the time when a nude scene comes up in a movie, the adolescent boy in us all comes out, and we go, oh. And in this movie, you kind of like, all right, I'm okay. All right. I don't know.
I'm with you on this one though. I still, for some reason, I just couldn't get past her hair. I don't know, her hair just seemed strange.
Yeah,
to me.
That big.
Which it's odd to be. I don't know if it's hitting a certain age or her hair is really that fucked up to me. Where, yeah, she is topless in the bed, and I'm like, her fucking hair. Like, it looks weird.
It
looks like a curly wig.
Yeah, it's like fanned back and real big. It's
yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen Slaughter High, even though we're shitting on it, I fully recommend that you check it out.
Own it. And Slaughter High is weird because I own the movie. I could not find the movie on my shelf. I scanned all my movies into my app.
Mm-hmm.
It was my app. Had to rescan it to put it in.
Was it under Lost Collection or something? Or no?
It just wasn't. I scanned it again and it said it wasn't in there. And I didn't miss it. Shit, you was there when I was scanning all my horror movies in.
That's true.
So it's an anomaly, to say the least.
I got a couple other little notes.
You're not addressing that other elephant in the room? We're not going to go on that?
Which one, the electrocution?
Yes!
Well, we definitely will cover the electrocution, which is by far the most creative kill in the film. The most creative kill in the two films. Yeah, let's talk about that. So I'll let you lead the way on this.
I shit. It just, that visual will burn in your brain, and you'll remember nothing from this movie, but you will never forget that. Just for some reason they decide, of course it's a horror movie, so they let's decide to, go in the other room where there's a bed set up and let's get freaky. And I love her. She's like, talk dirty to him, and he goes, tits.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. And the bed is hooked up to some high power electric voltage. And you get, I'm sure it was at climax spot where he's on top of her and they got their hands on the railing and sparks are flying everywhere and her face blackens out.
It is fantastic. And it's actually it's executed very well.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is awesome and hilarious at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And it's also funny that her face, like from here up, is black, but all this here is fine.
And then her wrists up, her hands are all fucked up too. But
yeah,
like it would have been super rad if it was like a Halloween 6 thing and her fucking head just exploded.
To intercut, if I could, I would love to intercut that with the scene in Home Alone 2 where Marv is getting electrocuted on the yeah, the climax.
I'll see if I can cut those together. Stella having sex with Marv.
I will just watch that for hours. That alarm clock. I'll wake up in a great mood every day.
Man, it is genuinely one of the best kills in the slasher genre. Most of the time when people are getting killed when they're having sex, it's a general thing. It's a double impale, a double impaling or something of that nature. Like one of them will get done and leave the room or but this one was very creative and very memorable.
Yeah. Ooh, you could also try to intercut Rambo 2 or First Blood Part 2 in there as well, where he's
when they're shocking him.
Or Hot Shots do that.
Oh my God.
Neck.
We just had Men at Work on here earlier, and then the kids took over.
That is one of the best movies. I love having that movie on any time.
Yep.
Keith David will sign that movie if he ever comes to town.
He's coming
He
back.
will sign it for the work.
So I'm going to move on with a couple of these notes, and then we'll talk about some of the notes that you have. But this is a bummer of a note.
I'm burning through some of my notes as we're going here. And some of the stuff we've already hit. So
this is a bummer. But Simon Scudamore, the kid who played Marty, he killed himself before this movie had even officially wrapped. So that sucks.
Yeah, that
I have to take it down a notch because I found that out and I'm like, man, that blows. And it wasn't because of the movie or anything. He just had issues, and there's an interview with his mom, I believe, and she said, it didn't have anything to do with the movie. This was actually, he was having a great time working on the movie. He was just working through some stuff, and but so that's a bad deal. Sorry to take that in a downer.
Right. When keeping it real got real.
Yeah, that shit got really real. And I was gonna compare the two killers from Slaughter High to April Fool's Day, and obviously the killer in Slaughter High is going to win.
It's a great look.
Yeah, the Letterman jacket, the jester mask. It's very memorable.
Yeah.
And he kind of has like his own signature noise whenever he's near, the bells jingling. It's a really subtle way to let you know that he's there, like when he attacks the guy from the backseat of the car.
What if that song played every time he attacks somebody?
It almost does. And we could do without that. I mean, that song is 2 minutes flat, and it's in the movie like 48 times. So that's an issue.
Pritter's Power of the Night.
Yeah, no, it is the equivalent. Except Power of the Night is actually kind of rocks. So
it does until you look at them lyrics where, you get the taste of sweat in your eye.
It's the best lyric of all time. Don't you hate on it.
I'm not hating. I absolutely love it. Makes no sense, and I love it for that reason.
So, another thing that I had, that it was just a weird observation, and I think I've noticed this for a really long time, but I've never brought it up because nobody ever talks about Slaughter High with me. When they come back to the school, actually, even before they come for the reunion, when they stop Marty and give him that joint, and you look at the lockers behind him, the lockers are like, one is this tall, one is this tall. Like, they're all really weird sizes. And then the same when they come back for the reunion. The lockers are all fucking weird. And I'm like, lockers when I was in high school, they were like in like a set of 4. It was like 4 lockers, but they were all the same height. So, which makes me think that like they went to some estate sale and just bought we need 6 lockers to sell this to make it look like a school. And they're like, yeah, we couldn't get them all in the same size.
We could buy the same size one.
And they're like, fuck it, nobody will notice. And then 30 years later, I'm like, them fucking lockers aren't the same size. That's bull.
Someone's gonna run into somebody else's room and hold their phone up, and and to this discussion, they'll be like, "It happened.
Mm-hmm.
It finally happened. Here's your $20."
It just it bothers me. Like, I know that they filmed. Was it the outside of it? Was a mental hospital, like a closed down mental hospital. All the outside stuff, and the inside stuff was a school that was scheduled for demolition. So
and that's how the movie cost so cheap, right there.
Mm-hmm. And I would assume that there was nothing left in the school. I would assume there were no lockers. So set dressing wise, I would assume that someone brought those, or maybe they did just scavenge the building, and find 7 lockers, and they're like, these'll do, I don't know.
Rattled, the 9-year-old just came downstairs and just appeared out of nowhere to the side of me. Like, ugh.
Ghost late 9-year-old.
That threw me off. That save money right there, shooting in that kind of environment. I'm sure that had to be fun for shooting location as far as echoing goes for sound.
Oh God, I bet almost. I bet a lot of it is ADR. I bet they had to record it completely separate. And normally I can point that out, but I don't know. I guess I wasn't paying that close attention to the audio.
I guarantee you will next time you'll be like, let me see.
Mm-hmm. The mouth ain't matching up.
There it is.
So another weird observation that I had about Slaughter High. I don't have too terribly much to nitpick about this movie, even though we've been shitting on it for a half hour. Lovingly, because it is in frequent rotation. I watch it. I like it.
All day to these movies.
Carolyn Monroe's outfit.
Cleavage?
No, her cleavage. The outfit that she wears.
I was going to bring that up.
To the reunion.
Was like a garbage bag with a belt tied around it, hammer pants style.
Your notes are almost identical to mine. I said she's wearing parachute pants. She has like a WWF belt for a belt. Like, it's gigantic. It's like this fucking big, dude. And, well, it's white, first of all. And they're in a school that's been closed for 5 years. She's sitting on couches. She's fucking running from a killer. And that outfit never gets dirty. It's never like, it doesn't have like black on her butt or anything. Like, but what a weird period in time where that was something that was fashionable. I don't know. I got a lot of room to talk about fashion. Black shirts and stocking hats is our forte.
Well, yeah, and my variation is like, well, I still like Jinkos.
Yeah.
Afford Jinkos, so I just buy really big pants and just pull the really, really tight on it. But yeah, she's wearing an outfit that probably Bam Bam Bigelow would fit comfortably in.
No kidding.
And just tie, really tight around the waist so you can see she is thin, but it poofs out everywhere else.
And she's got like the shoulder pads, that crazy 80s shoulder pads thing. Another thing that I found out about was the apartment where she wakes up at the beginning. That really was, they were shooting at her place. So it's similar to an Adrian King thing. Yeah. But okay, so if that made me think even more, because I was reading about it and I'm like, oh, they shot in her place. That's really cool. But then I rewound to it, and because I was like, I want to really pay attention to her place. That bed that she's in with that fucking giant suede headboard. I'm just thinking, like, what's the conversation you have with your like significant other when you're out like bed shopping? And you're like, what would be cool? Look at this fucking 9-foot suede. It's like shit brown suede.
Hey, some things are just hand-me-downs. You just kind of keep what you got. I mean, I've never been headboard shopping. If I just have a headboard, I happen to have a headboard. That's never been like what headboard defines me. But going back to that apartment thing, yeah, I didn't write that note down, but I was thinking, I was like, she's taking it awfully well, I guess. I don't know if it's a chick thing or what, but she's taking a shower, and someone just rolls into her place and rolls into the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, ah!
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, you're getting married. That's cool. Or whatever the fuck.
I mean, we are the best of buds, but I don't care, short of somebody dying, I don't feel the need to break into your place. Well, he's in the shower. I'm going in.
Yeah. Hey,
And you'd open the curtain to be like, "Hi."
you guys got any Pop-Tarts or yeah, that's like the equivalent to the emergency that she, hey, you going to that reunion? My boyfriend bought me a ring. That's cool. You could have told me in 7 minutes when I got done washing my fucking hair.
Yeah, you could have called first. Hey, you gonna be home? They're just popping in with that shit. I don't care. No.
No. So here's another sidebar about the movie. Did you ever watch the Making a Murderer on Netflix?
Like 2 episodes.
Oh, so
I gave up.
You never finished it. So I had a note because at the end of the movie when they fall asleep and then Marty kills Skip or takes Skip and hangs him. So then they go looking for Skip. The dead bodies are gone from underneath the lawnmower. The bathtub's cleaned up. There's no trace of any of the murders. And in Making a Murderer, where Stephen Avery, I'm not going to say whether he did or he didn't commit the crimes, but where he had supposedly done these things in this bedroom, where they killed this girl and whatever, there was no blood evidence in that bedroom. And so my note was that apparently Marty is better at cleaning up blood and guts than Stephen Avery, because there's not a fucking drop. I mean, you could blacklight that shit and you're not going to find any blood, in the 40 minutes at best that she fell asleep, because they're just trying to make it until noon, and it's like 11 o'clock. They just have to make it that hour. They doze off.
It's Friday the 13th game logic rules. Like, as long as we hit the time limit, he's just going to walk away.
Yeah, like what did they anticipate happening? Like, he's going to uphold... Oh. Yeah. It's noon. Fuck me. Like, he's going to uphold the tradition. And also, that's another thing that's weird about this movie is, so it was filmed in Canada, right? And...
Cheaper again.
In Canada, the tradition of April Fool's Day on April 1st ends at noon. So this whole movie was a Canadian crew or whatever. And so they make the movie based off of that rule that April Fool's Day ends at noon, not knowing that in America we pull fucking stupid pranks on people all day long. So the movie has a really weird mixed message.
Highly evident in April Fool's Day. Them fuckers play too much.
Yeah, no shit.
Too fucking much. That's my first note for April Fool's Day is these guys play too much.
The first time I go to turn the fucking light out and it turns the light on across the room and
that is the one prank in that movie that I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's funny. But I'm trying, like, the boyfriend is like in a bad mood and he's trying to sleep with, like, Amy Steele's trying to lighten the mood and mess around with him. And so she's trying to get him to come around and that fucking light keeps turning on. It's like...
And he unscrews a light bulb that's like the one that's been on the longest. So like, go over to the other one when that you just turned on and do that one. It won't burn you.
I said that out loud. I said, unplug it. What are you doing? He's risking to burn it. The plug-in is right there. It's right there. And it's way easier. Then you don't have to worry about it ever clicking back on ever again.
I'm smart, damn it. We're smart people. I don't fall for jokes.
No. I do like the collapsing legs on the chair. I think that was pretty funny, but they got fucking Biff with that twice.
So, do you have anything else for Slaughter High? Are you ready to move on to? We're already kind of jumping into April Fool's Day a little bit.
We're just kind of bouncing around. I don't really have any other notes for Slaughter High.
Anybody else in Slaughter High go on to do other movies?
Nothing of note. I think that Skip the guy who played Skip did a couple of little things. The only other note that I had that encompassed anything Slaughter High wise was that both films actually have a character named Skip, which I thought was kind of an odd thing. It's not really like it's not like a common name.
No,
it's not a Chad.
No, I've not met a single Skip in 35 years old.
There's
Not a
always
real.
tomorrow.
That's funny because April Fool's Day. That's all I know a bunch of them from.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got real actors, man. That's another thing that separates. Is that me or you? I don't know.
What?
I heard a little cracking. I keep hearing cracking. I don't know. But that's what separates April Fool's Day. Your sandwich?
That's my sanity.
Oh.
Cracking the wall, cracking my sanity.
That April Fool's Day has a real production behind it and has real actors who can carry a story. Amy Steele alone could have pushed that movie, but you have Deborah Foreman. I can't.
What are you looking at? What are you looking at, butthead?
Butthead, yeah, you got him.
Thomas Wilson.
Yeah, stop asking me the question.
I was like, oh, the dude from I'm Batman. And then Regina walked through. She's like, he's also with that other chick in Just One of the Guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, oh, that's a movie. Cameos.
So they have great actors behind this movie. The only problem is, like you said, the premise alone is a cop-out. It feels like it's the same thing. It feels like they got to like the last 20 pages of the script and went, into
a corner.
Yeah, what can we do now? Like, because it was interesting enough with the two twin sisters, and it wasn't it had a lot of tropes, and it was quite clearly a parody of the slasher genre. But if you look at the tones of Slaughter High and April Fool's Day, what's weird about them is that April Fool's Day is a parody, but it nails the tone, it nails the atmosphere better than an actual slasher movie, which is...
It won 80s for me, because I feel that first, up until the boat accident, this was not a boat accident, up until that boat accident, I was like, this could totally play as a regular slapstick comedy, 80s, Skinamax comedy thing, like one of those comedies,
like or Ski Resort.
It could take a rom-com route as well.
Yeah, it's right there.
Anywhere, those up until that boating accident, then you're in, your movie you're going to be in.
Yeah, and that's the thing that started to make April Fool's Day pull away, in my opinion, because I was always Slaughter High was better in my opinion. Slaughter High is the champion of the two, and then when I watch them back to back, and I'm watching actual characters interact with each other that really felt like they were friends. It really felt like they knew each other. When you watch Slaughter High, you're like, these people are annoying. Like, none of them are good people. You don't like any of them, with the exception of Skip, and he's a fucking tool.
Oh, yeah, that's my one missing note I forgot from that one. I was like, their push-up sequence where they're pumping the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Annoying people.
Yeah, they're not fun. And then when you watch April Fool's Day, you're like, I could be in this group. I could be one of these people. And that,
we are sometimes people.
Yeah, we are. And that really pushes that movie forward for me. It doesn't feel like a bunch of stereotypes put together in a situation. Sometimes there are movies where it's like, we have a jock, we have a slut, we have a nerd, and they're all, for some reason, they're hanging out with each other, even though they all get on each other's nerves and they don't like each other. So in real life, they would not be together. They are not. They're not friends. They're not a crew of people. Whereas when you watch when you watch April Fool's Day, you're like, oh, I can totally see like all their personalities kind of lend to each other, and that it's
They're all
not
their individuals, but you can see why they would hang out together.
exactly, yeah, like yeah, they joke a little bit, like Brian Wilson's character is very jokey, and the other guy with the gel in his hair that's always wearing pajama pants, I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I was like, his fucking attire is really bizarre.
It is.
Like, he's always wearing pajama pants, a t-shirt, and then like a sweater vest over a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's sort of I don't know what niche
Interesting
that fits.
fashion. These two movies, definitely interesting fashion choices.
Yeah, but you can totally vibe with those characters, and I think another thing that makes it so appealing is that it's not ridiculously gratuitous. It doesn't bank on splatter. It's a movie that literally could be on TBS at like noon.
Yeah, you wouldn't be cutting hardly anything out of April Fool's Day.
Yeah, it can
at all.
run, and that's part of why I think a bunch of us know it. One, that cover art. Like if you were gonna rent it, if you were at a video store, you'd rent it for that cover art alone. But the fact that it was so easily trimmed down for like a USA or a TBS, like they would have like USA Up All Night would do the Friday marathons, but those would never start until later in the day. But like April Fool's Day feels like it could be on Sunday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, right after Jaws 3 or something.
April Fool's Day, followed by the Munchies on Sunday morning's Day Scream Theater.
Yeah, exactly. And that helps because when we were younger, when like we're home from like on a summer break when we were kids, and you're like in that weird time, everybody went to the pool or whatever, but like before the pool would open or before the arcade would open or whatever it was that you did, you're hanging out at home watching daytime TV, and you could catch April Fool's Day, and then it could appeal to you as or something you might not have seen before.
I could see it being on. For me, it'd be like if I was like with my parents and they were like, "Oh, it's Saturday. We're gonna go out today. We're gonna go hit up some like antique malls, get something to eat, just run around, do whatever." But in the morning, I'd be like, "Yeah, okay, I will do that," and throw on the Day Scream Theater and see what's on in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It totally is. It's more marketable. It's more appealing because you could see it at a younger age. It doesn't feel like overly glossy. It doesn't feel like too pussified, and it doesn't feel like too grimy. It's kind of right in the middle, where if you didn't know that it was taking a stab at the genre, you would just take it at face value as a genre film. And it's the end where they get you, but
yeah. Do you feel gypped at all because the cover art for both these movies don't feature something that happens in the movie? I mean, we do get, I guess, someone with a noose and hogtied, which I'm wondering how they could do that and it'd be fake in that environment. In a movie, sure, but in a whodunit weekend, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that's another thing about the whodunit weekend that bothers me is, when you do this weekend, do you have plants? Like, do you have 7 guests that you have these molds made of and they are going to die? Or are you just planning on fucking jumping one of the 7 people and, telling them?
I think that.
But here's the other issue with that. These people went to, what's her name in the movies? Muffy or Buffy. They go to her.
Terrible rhyming names, by the way.
Yeah.
That's Muffy and Buffy.
They go to her place to spend the weekend to have fun. Now, let's say you're the first guy. You're the blonde kid who floats by on the shit underneath the boathouse, right? You're the first person. And she comes up on you and goes, ah, and scares the fuck out of you, right? And then she's like, okay, it's Thursday afternoon. I'm going to need you to fucking hide for 3 days. See ya. Like, he's there to have fun. What part, like, if it was you and me and our wives and our kids and this was some sort of elaborate joke and you were like, Dustin, okay, I know we're supposed to be hanging out, but we're going to scare the fuck out of everybody on Sunday night. So if you could just go hide.
Yeah.
If you could just go, and don't let anybody see you. So don't do anything fun. For the weekend, you're supposed to do things fun.
No, it would be ultra shitty, but at the end, I'd be like, it's going to be a good story.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That is, like you said, with the prosthetic falling off the eye being your issue. That is my issue. Because if you come up to me and say, I need you to hide for 3 days, and then they're going to be like, oh, it's a joke. I'd be like, fuck you, man. I'm here to hang out with you for 3 days. I took 3 days of vacation to fucking hang out with you. I'm not going to go hide in some cabin in the woods or wherever, because
you ain't got nothing to help you keep entertained for 3 days.
Yeah, I'd go all, no work and all, or whatever the fuck, no play and all work. Make Dustin go something.
Oh, crazy.
Don't mind if I do. So that's
I like how the Shining completely taking a backseat to the Simpsons parody of it.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure for you in your house, the Shining now just brings up memories of Ready Player One.
Jasmine keeps asking me to watch The Shining. She's not ready yet. That's like another year or two.
She's doing a convention. The lady in the bathtub is doing like her first convention.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't remember where, but she apparently is going to be doing a convention now.
Well, it's probably fucking Chicago.
Texas.
So,
prisons, mental institutions, and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about the severed heads and everything? I mean, aside from what we talked about being, bullshit, really good.
Yeah.
Look in the movie.
I think they look fantastic in the movie, which is... and severed heads are not an easy thing. Most movies, when you see a severed head, they do one of two things. One, it's a really shitty a mold, a really terrible mold that looks too plasticky. Or two, they do the thing where the actor puts their head through a table and then they make a neck stump, which that is fine, but you never really buy it because you can tell that's the actor is alive. There's something different about a really well-made prosthetic that seems slightly emaciated. The eyes are glossy. You're not going to see a breath. You're not going to see anything like that. And only a handful of effects artists can really deliver a severed head. And this is, we talked about Valentine a couple weeks ago, but if you look at the severed heads in April Fool's Day, and then you look at the severed head in Valentine, 20 fucking years later, and that severed head in Valentine looks like shit. It's an art.
You know, a severed head I think that looks pretty good that I like is Tropic Thunder.
Dude. Yeah, because it's got like servos in it.
Black when he's doing this motion with it. When he's
Yeah.
got it on the gun, that jaw is just opening and closing.
People like K&B with all the severed heads in Ghosts of Mars. They're very good. You know,
Yeah.
there's something about it that I don't know. Certain effects artists just can't nail it, and I think now
I hate when they look stiff. A lot of them, like how you were saying with that, the mouth is closed, everything looks solid. Unlike that Tropic Thunder bit, like it looks loose. It looks like the muscles have just given way.
Yeah, and it has some depth to it. There's another issue with when people make a severed head, and it's like a foam latex severed head. If the mouth is open, slightly, like this or whatever, you can tell that there is no depth. You can tell that it doesn't go all the way back. And more and more artists are using like silicone to give it that really amazing skin texture. And I don't know if you watched on Shudder. I don't know because you're not subscribed to Shudder, but I'm subscribed to Shudder. There was that series called The Core.
I remember you telling me about it. Now I think I watched part of an episode when you were here and you had your subscription up, and I was able to take a gander at it. But I remember a little bit of The Core. Yeah.
When you come visit, I have to show you one specific episode. They talk heavily on gore effects, and the artist, I forget his name. Somebody, if you've watched this far, let me know the artist that they have on one of the episodes of The Core, and he makes a severed head. And the severed heads that this guy makes, it's crazy. It has a fully intact skull. It has eyes. It has the tongue can come out. And he literally takes a knife. He scalps it. He cracks open the skull. Inside the skull is a brain. It's the most realistic fucking severed head I've ever seen in my life. And I'm hoping that becomes the norm instead of, which I know that it's very expensive to do something like that, because why put a brain in something if you're not going to show the brain? So people usually just sculpt what you're going to see, but the end result of having something that seems so organic, and like you're saying, when you're shaking it and the jaw's going slack, or the eyes are fucking drooping down, or whatever it may be. The ears have some flop to them. The skin is sliding on the.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I don't know.
But speaking of, what do you think? Speaking of the going to CGI and the things, what do you think about like William Friedkin, who, when asked if he would do CGI for The Exorcist, he would? Breath.
I don't even. I can't even fathom that, dude. We've seen what happens when you involve CGI in a movie like that. Then we don't talk about them because no one cares about them. The Exorcist, the beginning, and Dominion, the other Exorcist sequel, where they made both of those movies essentially back to back. They're just the same movie, like re-edited or whatever. We don't talk about them because they're filled with CGI, and they don't stay with you.
But going back to like Ready Player One, who it's 99% CGI, for the most part, I think looks really good and fairly convincing for CGI. And one CGI that I always forget about that is perfect to me, you'll never guess what it's from. Never guess in a real world what it's from. Not a horror movie either.
That's perfect. Perfect CGI that you like.
Because you never know it's CGI. You'll never get.
I don't know.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Which part are you speaking of?
When he's in Harlem and he's wearing the board,
Mm-hmm.
they're really shooting in Harlem, and what's written on that board is not there. It's a blank board. That is
Oh,
the guy. What is written on that board and on his chest?
well, that's smart. I would, because Bruce Willis don't
Smart.
want to get shot. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be he would have been dead hard right
yeah,
there. But that's perfect CGI to me. You never know that CGI.
yeah. And that is what CGI is supposed to be used for. CGI is not
You use racist words, but you can't do it because you're afraid of getting shot.
yeah. It is not a shortcut. It is not, well, we don't want to rig up a blood tube, so we'll just add some CGI blood, because it doesn't have substance. It doesn't have
Yeah, and a tangible
yeah. If
texture.
you take that out, the illusion goes away. If you don't, when you're watching a blood gag or you're watching a monster on a screen, whatever it is, if you don't physically feel that you could reach into that screen and poke it or smell it or wipe it up or whatever,
It doesn't look like the person in the movie could touch it. Then then they can't touch it. You touch it. It ain't real.
yeah, it's some Scorpion King shit, and and that's where
Runes there.
even things that have a
Either had the rock in it.
I hate that movie. I know you like it.
Yeah. I think you're talking about the Mummy Returns, where it's the CGI rock with
Yeah.
the scorpion.
That's what I'm talking about.
The rock was real in that sequence, attached to a fake CGI scorpion body. That would
so
probably
bad.
be 20 times sillier, but I think it'd be funnier.
That'd be some Mortal Kombat Annihilation business, with the dude that's the centaur or whatever, and he has CGI hind legs.
Mantar.
Yeah. I don't even know where I was going. I got sidetracked.
So April Fool's Day.
Yeah, so April Fool's Day. No, as far as the CGI thing goes, it like I said, it needs to be used as an assisting tool.
Yeah.
It does not need to take the reins and be the
erase like the wires and shit. That's when I think it is perfectly used.
yeah, or you need the sky to be a certain color because shooting day for night is tricky, or
All day for nights.
yeah, you can always tell.
You Friday the 13th part 6 shots.
I was just watching something the other day, and I'm like, wow, that is ridiculous day for night. And I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. We watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, and we're recording this on Black Friday, where we went out and looked for some new movies today. Did you get out and look for anything today?
I was scared. I stayed home.
I don't blame you. If I wasn't in the area anyway, I wouldn't have done it either.
Yeah. I've been a homebody today. I'm gonna do some ordering. I might get on www.rottenrentals.com.
Not a bad place. Or atomiccotton.com.
That's true.
Get you a clamshell, get you a t-shirt.
Then head on over to Shout Factory and pick up some new stuff there.
Do they have sales going on right now?
I don't know. I would assume so.
I know the other two places were having Black Friday sales, but I don't know about if Shout Factory was. I'm assuming they probably would, but I haven't heard of anything.
Severin Films is having a Black Friday sale, which I need to take a closer look at because I brought this up to you earlier. They are releasing that Ted Raimi movie called Skinner. I think it was
Yeah.
92, 93, somewhere around the Darkman time. And
Right.
Ted Raimi is a serial killer who fucking skins his victims, and he rocks like a trench coat, and he's silly ass Ted Raimi. I've seen it once, and I love it, and it's finally getting a Blu-ray release, so I'm gonna pick that up. Oh,
I don't remember what I have of them. They're a weird branch, though, aren't they?
yeah, yeah. It's a very strange. It's sort of like a
Underground, like them.
yeah. What's the other people? Vinegar Syndrome. Sort of like Vinegar Syndrome stuff, and you know, not not the traditional horror. They bring out a lot of the kind of off the beaten track stuff that everybody forgets about, which is fine because those are the kind of things that we like to rediscover or discover for the first time anyway. So,
Yeah, some blind buys, like not in that category, but back to Shout Factory. We got both bought the car. Having that, I've never watched a car before. Did you see it before you bought it, or did you buy it blind like me?
I bought it because of the cover art.
Yeah, and that was a real treat of a movie for someone I've never seen. And yeah, that they cleaned that movie up tremendously well.
Yeah, and that is a strange film to say the least. We will probably end up doing an entire rant about it at some point, I would assume.
Do a Killer Automobiles themed episode. So
I'm all about that.
A car, duel.
Oh man, that sounds like the most fun ever.
You have to wear a trucker hat and
we got them. We got trucker hats.
Trucker hats. I'm already got the sleeveless shirt on. Some flannel, maybe.
Yeah.
Mullet hair behind us.
Maybe drink out of a flask. I feel like you should have a flask. I don't know. And you can't imagine why you can't even pick up ye flask.
Or chewing tobacco. Wacky backy.
Big old dip in there. Talk about San Antonio. So, out of the two films, my opinion has swayed dramatically, and I now am fully on board saying that April Fool's Day is a better movie. I don't know where you are with that, but
gosh, I don't know on which one I would think is better because neither one of them to me are in my high rotations. Scenes that come out of both of them, besides the bed from Slaughter High, I don't remember anything that jumps out at me from April Fool's Day off the top of my head. I instantly think of bleeding crotch, dude, Biff Tannen, and bullshit special effects from in the water boat.
So
it's funny. April Fool's Day is a movie the wife likes watching, and she'll never let it go. Now that you'll watch it to talk about it with Rottin Roger, but you want to watch that any other time of day? Like, well, yeah. I'll throw it in every now and then. I'll make a thing. It'll be a thing now. Every April Fool's Day, I'll probably double feature this thing because it's. Oh, there's the note I forgot. Charles Bernstein did the music for April Fool's Day. The guy that did the music for Nightmare on Elm Street. So between these movies, you have of the music another Freddy versus Jason scenario going on.
Mm-hmm. So if you only had two movies, if you only had these two movies, and it was time to watch a movie, which one do you grab first?
In that scenario, it'll probably be April Fool's Day, and I will base it slowly because it has the advantage of not having that fucking song in it.
See? Yep. And
if did it once, it's okay. 2 times, it's like, all right. 3, for
Pushing it.
the movie.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. So, based on the soundtrack of Slaughter High, the acting,
The song of Slaughter
the
High.
song of Slaughter High, the acting power of April Fool's Day. The consensus is that the two of us will lean towards April Fool's Day.
April
Over
Fool's Day is a
Slaughter.
good. April Fool's Day is a good 7 to 9 p.m. movie. Slaughter High is perfect for 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're trying to go to sleep. You're like,
Or you're half in, half out. You know, if you're doing a Halloween marathon, it's the producer's cut level time frame.
man. Yeah, and see, that's the thing about Slaughter High for me is that its pacing is so strange. Regardless of the high body count, the pacing just it sort of drags. And that, like I was saying, with that finale, I was getting frustrated with the fact that the movie was still going. And I don't ever want to feel like that, especially since it doesn't have a long run time, but it feels so long because
If
no one's acting.
if you're watching these movies today, you're gonna, in my opinion, have a more difficult time not like reaching for your phone to check, an email or a Facebook or something. You're gonna want to be more compelled to do that in spots in Slaughter High than you will be in April Fool's Day.
Yeah. And because with April Fool's Day, with most of the kills being off screen, it's sort of a movie. Well, all movies demand your attention. Put your fucking phone down and watch your fucking movie. But if you do not pay attention to Slaughter High, or if you do not pay attention to April Fool's Day, rather, and you're gonna look at your phone for a minute, you're gonna look up, and 3 people are gonna be bumped off because there's not a lot of screaming. It's a lot of those. It's a lot of that abrupt. Someone's doing something, and they get you with the Friday the 13th one. Oh, what are you doing here? Gone. And then you never see them again until it's time for their body to pop up. So it's a movie that you really have to watch so you don't miss.
Yeah, that would be the other category of if you're not tempted to doing something else, like how we are. It's background time. Like you can watch it and still have conversation, go get a drink, go to the bathroom. You're fine.
Yeah.
Slaughter High, you can do that all day.
Mm-hmm.
Not the other one.
Because really, the only thing that you're waiting for in Slaughter High is the bed electrocution and the breastises. I hate to be a perv again.
I was taking notes and watching Slaughter High. I was snapping you that I was watching it, and even I couldn't audibly, like I was showing you where I was in the movie, and it was the bathtub sequence, and I couldn't even audibly be quiet to like, oh, this is where I am. Even filming it, I'm like, oh, I hope you didn't hear that. And then everyone says, "Did you laugh? Don't you laugh?"
It's terrifying. No, it
is bone chilling.
It's it hasn't aged as well as April Fool's Day. And that's another thing with the money that was put into the movie, because April Fool's Day has a lot more staying power because those characters are recognizable. You see Amy Steele and hey, that's Ginny. Or, you see these characters and you immediately are rooting for them or caring about what's happening because you recognize them from something else, or just the character arcs in general. It's way better. Way better.
You're going to have an easier time remembering their character names than Slaughter High. Like, gun to head to be like, I couldn't tell you everyone's name from Slaughter High. Maybe not. If
I
I
might be able to.
if I was taking hardcore notes, I'd probably have to rewatch it just to get the names down, or cheat in IMDb the names.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I would be watching it and forget.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're all cannon fodder, and that's the issue with that movie.
Yeah, they're
Um,
dead meat.
yeah. What were you going to be when you grew up? So, so on that note, I would say that we have reached our consensus, our
Of the
conclusion,
day movies.
and eventually we'll have to put April Fool's Day against its remake. And I'm not looking forward to that.
Is that happening?
No, that I have that. That's a thing already.
That happened?
See?
Really? That happened? April?
Yes.
When did that happen?
It's sort of like its own entity. What fucking
Really? I didn't know.
2008? It's bad, dude.
What was it doing in
Around-
2000?
They remade Prom Night and they remade fucking April Fool's Day.
I remember Prom Night. I didn't watch it, but I remember them making it and it coming out. But
I'll send you a picture. Because I got to go put this one back on the shelf, so I'll send you a picture of the other one.
Oh, you own it?
Yeah, I do. Come on now.
When was the last time you watched that one?
What year did it come out? What did I say? 2008? 2008.
Remember what year it came out, but you don't remember when you watched it last.
That's when I watched it last.
That's
When
telling.
when it was purchased. Same thing with the Prom Night. When Blu-ray became a thing, my mom kind of went through this deal where she was like, "You got that new Blu-ray player? I'll get you any scary movies I see for the Blu-ray." And so she would just show up at my house and with random movies, and one of them was like Prom Night, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, Prom Night!" And then I look at it and I'm like, "Oh, Prom Night the remake. It's got a fucking price tag on it for like $42.95." I'm like, yeah. And then you watch it and you're like, I want to kill myself.
What do you feel about that now? Because I noticed today when I was out looking at movies that everything is 90% now. They're 4K releases. Blu-ray is more or less turning into what DVDs were, and DVDs are just non-existent. At least at Best Buy, physical media is damn near dead at that retail place anyway. But they had a good amount of 4K movies out. How do you feel? Well, and you're set up for 4K now.
Yeah, we're still, that's in the infancy. I mean, you are too. You have an Xbox One. It'll play it.
No, I have an original Xbox One. You have the One S, and that has the 4K capabilities, which that was a precious moment for me when you're like, man, I got a 4K TV. I wish I had a 4K player. And I go, you do.
Yeah, see?
I was like, your Xbox One S is like, it's a 4K player. It's like, no fucking way. Like, yes way, Ted.
Yes way, Ted. Ha! I'm okay with, because everything is going to progress. So I'm fine with 4K starting to take over. Well, but this is it. 4K is the end. Okay.
And you think that they won't go any further than 4K?
I think there will be no more physical media. There will be higher resolution, but it will all be a digital means. People like us, I mean, there's a lot of collectors, but the general public, they're like a herd. You know, they go with whatever is changing. So like when VHS got ushered out, everybody threw out their VHSs and bought DVDs. You know, someone is telling them, society is telling them, this is now the norm. Your other stuff is not as good. And I mean, since 2009,
But
2000
it's not more expensive yet. Like, it'll be rough when DVD becomes what VHS is now.
retro, like, yeah.
VHS player now is like almost $200.
You just find them at the thrift shops, you know.
Gamble that money away, whether it's going to work or not.
$2. Hey, mine did. um, but
Mine went my luck, though.
The just that society goes with these trends, and in like 2009 or whatever, Netflix like really took hold, you know, and now everyone is
Now Netflix and it's putting out its shit.
The need for that instant, it's, you know, the video store experience is gone. There's no love, there's no respect for that anymore. I would like to watch this. In 2 minutes it hasn't grabbed my attention. Fuck this. I'll look for something else. That's a problem. I don't agree with that. But that's the direction that we're heading in. But we will never have to face that because we are collectors. So we will always have our own video store. And that's the exact reason why I collect, because I'm not ready to say goodbye to a video store.
Plus, shit, everything's not available whenever I want to watch it.
Right.
And net is not always available when I want to use it.
And I know we might have even brought this up on another episode of Buddies Forever, but I have a real issue with, let's say, Jurassic Park is your all-time favorite movie, you know, and so you get rid of all of your physical media, but you have a digital code from one of your, you know, you have your Voodoo or what the fuck ever it is, and you have the digital code.
Movies Anywhere app is what I.
Yeah, you have it stored, and you have your Jurassic Park, so you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your tablet, you can watch it on your TV. It's right there, man. Well, in 6 years, when Universal loses the rights and some other company buys it, and now that digital code disappears, it's gone, because Universal doesn't own Jurassic Park anymore, and they can't get any revenue, or they can't have the licensing for that title. That title just disappears from your library, and you don't have it anymore because they say so. And I have a hard time with that. I don't care who owns the rights. My DVD or and you can't take that away.
Yeah, perfect example. Yeah, if the rumor is true and Bill Cosby did want to take all the copies of Leonard Part 6, if it was all digital, he could probably find a way to do that. Mm-hmm. Probably not much now, but when he was, you know, when he had pudding power, he probably could. But he's never coming to my house. His blind ass is never coming to my house to take my copy of Leonard Part 6 on DVD away.
No. Well, he ain't ever getting out of the big house. But
he ain't going to be able to find me anyway. He's blind.
He's blind and in prison. That's a double whammy.
This ain't no situation. He ain't going to find me here.
So we will evolve with the times, but I'm not a digital media kind of guy.
I never doing it as a bonus thing on my end, and I just use some of my codes. I use the Anywhere app. Voodoo stuff doesn't work, and a lot of my other things don't work. But if it's under the Movies Anywhere brand, it'll work. And I've got a good library of stuff that I can access, and it links it. It's nice because it'll link it to anything I bought through Google Play and the iPhone, anything there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that it can be a good thing, but I don't trust movie companies.
I'm not buying digital codes on their own. If it comes with my Blu-ray, cool, I'll add it. If it's not, fine by me. Like, I bought 4 movies from Best Buy today that were on their $5 sale. 3 of them I was able to get codes for. The 4th one didn't work. And I was like, oh, well, I still have the movie. So
Yeah.
I have 3 new digital movies, but I don't have 4. And I'm all right because I still have 4 movies upstairs I can throw on about anywhere around here and watch it.
Yeah, I have a hard time with the last time we went to Best Buy. It's just a cardboard backing with a piece of paper with a digital code, wrapped in cellophane, and they want you to pay $30 for that.
Best Buy used to be where you would go to get some really obscure movies, and they had a good selection of fucking movies. And
Anchor
now
Bay.
Yeah.
Anchor Bay ran shit, and that's another example. So let's say that Anchor Bay had all of that stuff under license, and you had digital Anchor Bay films, and then Anchor Bay loses the license, and then you're fucked. Like, no, just all because that Anchor Bay logo is at the beginning 7 seconds of the movie. Now you can't have it, and it ain't that kind of party. You're not taking my shit.
Yeah, it would go under another company, and they'd be like, well, you can get it still, but just join our group. But don't worry, our group's only $4.99 a month, so you can get it. But they're gonna you'll still have your stuff. I think you will always have your stuff, but you are going to be nickel and dimed to keep that said stuff.
Yeah,
as it goes on, like it'll be another hurdle, another dollar.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I got my Nightmare on Elm Street on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. I have digital for 3 of them, and the Never Sleep Again doc. But I wouldn't not be down to like continually pay for those items over a year's time.
I think we're at the hour 40 mark, so I think
you trying to
I'm saying goodbye, internet fan. No, I don't know.
Save that for the finale episode.
Yeah, there ain't never gonna be a finale.
What should be the next? I like doing this versus mode for movies. I think try to find another versus combo, or
yeah, and then I want to do commentary for Friday 4, and then we're doing that 247.
Yeah.
So
the next one that I want to do after that is I want to do Leatherface, Texas 3.
So we'll do all of those. So for those who watch this far, you will know we have many, many plans, and we are continuing to grow. So if you hang out with us, these will get better with time. We are in our infancy, and we are 2 horror nerds who just want to talk about horror movies, and we know other people have these exact conversations.
Yeah, and unfortunately, just because we live states apart, this is the best means of doing things. Unless those weekends we were able to actually physically get together and hang out, this is our best substitute. And definitely after a weekend of Christmas and Thanksgiving and shit weeks, really good to just sit at home and jump on here, bullshit with you, have me a soda, sit here and relax, talk about shit that I don't get to do all week long.
Yep. So
that quote now. We were talking the other day about we do this at work too all the time. We will drop movie quotes and laugh at ourselves.
Yep.
And finally, the other day, I was like, oh, it was a Super Troopers line. Somebody wanted a liter of cola.
Nice.
So I'm walking off by myself going, liter cola? Do we make liter cola?
What the hell was the one I quoted the other day when I was at work, and it fucking had me rolling when I was washing the dishes?
You did a Nightmare one.
Yeah, what one was it?
Bury the fucking thing.
Oh yeah. Somebody said something about burying the equipment because the equipment was junk. And I just go, I'm washing the dishes. Bury the fucking thing. And everyone's just kind of, and then they just left. I'm in there. I'm hilarious. Like,
Yeah,
Evil would have got that shit.
yeah, that's us all week long. Like, he would think that's funny. I can't
Straight
even talk
up.
about it. In 3 or 4 days, we do our next VCast. How many jokes we made to ourselves?
Yep, that is an everyday occurrence in my life.
Yeah, that's
So,
our.
so on that note, we will wrap this episode up, and we will be back next week with another episode of the Buddies Forever VCast.
I see we got a comment from the Nerds of Nostalgia.
Yes. So the Nerds of Nostalgia are keeping up with our ridiculous antics. And if you don't know who the Nerds of Nostalgia are, you should pull up your podcast app and search for the Nerds of Nostalgia, and also search for Nightmare Junkhead. And we promise that these guys will entertain you. And hopefully we are doing some form of entertaining for you as well.
And maybe at some point in the future we can get those guys on here too and talk to them, because they're doing essentially the same thing we are, except on a more advanced scale.
And we will get there. And we need to pick their brain.
Yeah.
So, on that note, we will see you folks next week, because we got some movies to watch. Because after all, there's a lot of movies out there. And somebody's got to watch them. So why not us, right?
All right. Catch you later, buddy.